Let's break down easy ways to begin the journey of beating inflammation. This is a journey that takes little steps every single day, but ultimately has massive payoff. So we're going to start with food. All right, so food, you've heard me say this before, you're probably rolling your eyes at me right now, but food really is your first medicine. And it starts with really trying to get in more anti-inflammatory foods in your daily diet. Again, these are things that I've picked today that I like to use most frequently. There are so many, but let's start with the good stuff. So we love bringing in so many different anti-inflammatory foods. So first of all, salmon, because of the omega-3 fats. We know that your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio determines how much inflammation is in your body. So we know salmon improves that ratio. We know avocados improve it too. It's a great source of an omega-9 fat, as is olive oil. And in addition to that, there are so many great spices that also help to beat inflammation. Curcumin is a big one. I use it in so many different things. Golden milk, is one of our favorite recipes where you can literally add a teaspoon of turmeric into your favorite drink and stir it and have it straight. Cumin and cumin seeds, so much research on this right now, guys. There's so much great research talking about how it actually has so many different anti-inflammatory properties. That means it's coming in, all of these things are coming in and really helping to tone the inflammatory response down, support your immune system so we can start turning the stuff around in your body. Ginger is another great one. Ginger, again, remember, helps the digestive system, and for so long I've been saying so much inflammation comes from right here, right in the gut. About 75 to 80% of the time, I blame the gut for an inflammatory process. So that's why we love ginger, because it helps your digestion. And another great digestive aid is papaya. Papaya has all kinds of digestive enzymes. It has papain, it has chymotrypsin. What do those things do? They come in and they literally chop your food up into little bits so it can go wherever it needs to go in the body, helping your body assimilate nutrients and fight inflammation. So this is all the good stuff, the fats, getting in the right spices, getting in all kinds of anti-inflammatory properties in your daily diet to tone that inflammatory response down. But there are other things you could do too. What about sleep? One of the biggest things, and we've talked about this, and I've actually experienced this honestly over and over again, is that you can do everything right, but if you're not sleeping, you are still in an inflamed state. That's because we know the body needs rest and it needs that period of time to reboot and reset. So getting a solid night's sleep, that's a big Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine concept. Falling asleep, staying asleep, ideally between the hours of 11 and 5 a.m. at a minimum, super important for beating inflammation. So how do we do this? I know so many of you are counting sheep and staring at the ceiling and you simply can't fall asleep or you can't stay asleep, and that's a whole another discussion in itself. But there are many different ways to help improve your sleep cycle. Everything from removing blue light and Wi-Fi from your room, because that wires the brain and really activates the gland sitting right in here. We have the pineal gland that sits there and regulates melatonin production, to engaging in relaxing activities right before bed, whether that's journaling or meditating or doing even like a yin yoga routine that calms the nervous system down, preps the mind that, hey, it's time to sleep. Getting the room temperature correct. We want an ambient temperature somewhere around 68 degrees or so. Too hot or too cold. Sometimes your body has trouble with sleep. So these are some of the things you can do, but often we need supplements or some sort of support to help us sleep. And one of my favorites is using magnesium, about 200 to 400 milligrams nightly, using melatonin if you're having trouble falling asleep, and then also using any of the wonderful litany of herbs that help to bring cortisol down. And there's so many, everything from ashwagandha, holy basil, and magnolia bark. In this particular formula in my Sleep Savior, we have magnesium, melatonin, and magnolia bark, trying to tackle the falling asleep, the staying asleep issue, the cortisol issue, all of which can really impact inflammation down the road. All right, so that's probably a lot about sleep. I could go on about sleep forever because we're finding more and more it's so critical to beating inflammatory processes and inflammatory disease. But let's stay on the supplement track for just a minute. Sometimes it's hard, right, to get all the right foods in all the time. We're running around. If you're a mom, you know what this is like. Sometimes you can't even think about yourself because there's 50 other things going on. So supplements do help. Curcumin actually comes in supplement form, and I like it in about a 2 to 3 gram daily dose to bring inflammation down. We've we've seen tremendous success in practice. Omega-3s, which we talked about with the salmon, right? Actually, you can supplement as well. 2 to 3 grams a day, even higher is what the research is saying if you have an active inflammatory process. Great supplements to use. There are additional ones as well. Boswellia, which is the key ingredient in frankincense, which is an essential oil many people like to use, but that's an anti-inflammatory as well. And even black cumin seed oil, I have many people using in supplement form rather than food form to bring inflammation down. All right, your diet, your sleep, getting in some extra supplementation. What else can you do to beat inflammation? This is an epidemic, guys. I'm seeing this over and over again in practice. There is not a condition, I can fairly say, that is not tied back to inflammation. Let's talk about another one. Let's talk about stress. This is something that I really think might be driving the entire inflammatory pathway. Stress comes in different forms, right? Stress is different to each and every one of us, but it is our perception of stress and what our body is doing in response to that that really triggers the inflammatory cascade. Now, that could be something as simple as you've got list of things to do, or it could be a serious trauma you've experienced and haven't processed yet. Wherever you are in the stress world, having an active stress management plan is critical. In fact, so much so, as I've evolved in my practice at Center Spring MD, sometimes now I'm starting there. What is your stress management plan? What are you doing? Do you take time out to de-stress and take care of yourself? Because I'm understanding more and more that I can get all the chemistry right, but if this particular piece is not right, inflammation drives away like a runaway train and I have trouble getting hold of it. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means budget your time, 20 minutes a day, something to de-stress, have quiet time, bring that cortisol level down, and then schedule time, 2 to 3 hours a week of any type of modality that you love and that you're gonna stick to help you with stress and stress management. Personally, I love massage, acupuncture, yoga, I meditate, I journal, I do all kinds of things, but you don't have to copy me. You have to do what you love. And maybe you love hiking in the mountains, or maybe you simply like to swim. Doesn't matter. Find your joy, find your passion, make time for it, because that ultimately brings the stress down. All right, one more thing before we leave this topic of inflammation. What to take out. We talked about what to put in, but let's really tackle what to take out, because that's a big one as well. You can't run through the drive-thrus and take supplements and think your inflammation will go away. I'm sorry, it simply doesn't work that way. But your refined and processed foods, right? Your trans fats, your food additives. I mean, check out the ingredients on this particular product. You've got a list here. Many of them are chemicals we can't even say. When you've got a can that looks like that, or a bag that looks like that, or it's a fatty food that's simply not a healthy fat, inflammation, those omega-6s, remember I talked about the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, omega-6s go up, omega-3s get suppressed, inflammation out of control. All right, so here are the things to take out: trans fats, processed foods, refined foods, chemicals, and food dyes. Those are things that we know trigger inflammation. Let's narrow down the things to put in. Those are going to be foods high in omega-3 like salmon, foods high in omega-9 like your olive oil and avocado, our spices that are anti-inflammatory like curcumin and cumin. Both of those are excellent. And in addition to that, we want to add in other ways to beat inflammation. That includes managing sleep, managing your stress, and again, finding your purpose and your passion. I hope you can use this information. Remember, I have more videos on beating inflammation, how to heal a leaky gut. Check those out. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every week.